Greetings citizens. A 19-year-old, partially paralyzed Hanna Cohen was manhandled and bloodied, then carted off to jail by TSA agents at Memphis International Airport, as she was returning home from St. Jude's Hospital after receiving treatment for a brain tumor, a trip she's been making for the past 17 years. Upon arriving at the security checkpoint, Hanna set off a metal detector. According to Hanna's mother Shirley, they wanted to do further scanning. She was reluctant, she didn't understand what they were about to do. When realizing her daughter's confusion at the situation, Shirley tried to explain to TSA agents that her daughter is partially deaf, blind in one eye, paralyzed, and easily confused. However, police restrained her from doing so, as she was kept away from the TSA agents. Frightened and confused, Hanna, unable to understand what was happening, attempted to flee. TSA agents violently took her down, bludgeoning her bloody in the process. Shirley explains, she's trying to get away from them, but in the next instant, one of them had her down on the ground and hit her head on the floor, Shirley Cohen said. There was blood everywhere. This is simply another example of how the Gestapo-like TSA operates, to keep Americans like Hanna Cohen safe. If the TSA isn't rummaging through your personal effects, fondling you and your children with so-called body searches, scanning and observing your every nook and cranny, and raping you of your tax dollars, then you're not safe in America. Does it seem to you that going through a TSA security checkpoint is like being processed into a prison? It should. So, is the TSA really keeping Americans safe, by rough-trotting disabled American citizens like Hanna?
Meanwhile, the TSA costs the taxpayers in the ballpark of $7 billion annually. Money spent on a long, embarrassing track record, resulting in Homeland Security being successful in smuggling guns and bombs through TSA security 67 out of 70 times. Loaded guns still pass right through the TSA, as happened in Atlanta recently, not to mention the fact that you have a pretty good chance of being robbed by a TSA agent. RT reported that a TSA agent convicted of stealing more than $800,000 worth of goods from travelers said this type of theft is commonplace among airport security. Almost 400 TSA officers have been fired for stealing from passengers since 2003. But there we are, standing in long lines, each one of us having our Fourth Amendment rights violated and our tax dollars squandered, while the borders remain wide open as drug traffickers, child rapists, and terrorists surge through the unprotected property of American citizens while the Border Patrol is ordered to stand down. Meanwhile, as many as 4,000 flyers missed their flights on American Airlines from February of this year alone. Got it? Illegal aliens move freer than American citizens, and we are paying for it.
The borders are open, and we have mainstream news articles admitting that they fly in planes to New York every day out of Mexico and other countries, and no one is even checked. No IDs are even looked at. Congress approves TSA request for screeners to meet summer crush. They're going to get an additional $34 million to hire an additional 768 new officers and pay overtime for 42,000 plus.
So what does the establishment do? The House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform fired Kelly Hogan, the TSA's chief of security, mainly because Hogan, who was paid $181,000 a year, received $90,000 in bonuses, regardless of the fact that TSA had been recently revealed to be a complete failure. As if that fixes the problem. And the only recourse for the airlines as Memorial Day weekend looms is for the airlines to take over the gridlock. Bloomberg reports American, Delta, and United Airlines will spend as much as $4 million each for extra workers at their busiest airports to help manage lines and shuffle bins at checkpoints, freeing up TSA officers to focus on screening. Carriers and airports also are diverting some of their own employees to take the load off TSA staff. You want a solution? Shut down the TSA. and reinvigorate the spirit of the American people by restoring the Fourth Amendment. Terrorists want to take a plane over? Well, our Second Amendment rights have a pretty simple fix for that. Of course, I admit, a shootout at 35,000 feet isn't the smartest solution. So if the bureaucracy must continue, take that $7 billion spent on the TSA annually and expand and modify the highly trained Sky Marshal Service into an agency that actually obeys the Bill of Rights. Because right now, the only thing the TSA provides is a guaranteed false sense of security to protect the travelers who are being set up for disaster by an alphabet agency expanding its grip on the very freedom and security the TSA supposedly protects. John Bound for InfoWars.com.
American people, you are losing your rights and sovereignty to your elected globalist officials, who are empowering bureaucracies to strip you naked and physically beat you into submission. Wake up, America, and get your heads out of the sand, before they rape the part that's sticking up.